Don't touch that thermostat yet. Somewhere in your house right now, there's a switch, or a habit, that's quietly costing you real money every single month, and it has absolutely nothing to do with your AC being broken. I've walked into hundreds of homes where people were paying an extra $50, $60, sometimes $80 a month, doing something that felt completely normal to them. And the worst one on this list? It's the one that actually gets people to pay for a repair they never needed in the first place. A technician shows up, points at a number, and the homeowner just believes it. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. 5 habits, all fixable today, all free. Let's get into it. Habit number 1, the fan switch nobody thinks about. Quick one to start. Go look at your thermostat right now. There's a fan setting, and it says either auto or on. If yours is sitting on on, here's what's actually happening. That fan runs every hour of the day, whether the system is cooling or not. On auto, it only spins when the compressor is actually working. People flip it to on, thinking constant airflow means more even temperatures. Sounds reasonable. It backfires 2 separate ways. First, that fan is a motor, and depending on your system's age, it can pull a few hundred watts every single hour it's running. Leave that going non-stop, and you're looking at an extra $30, $50 a month, sometimes more, just moving air that didn't need moving. Second, and almost nobody explains this one, your AC's real job isn't just cooling. It's pulling moisture out of the air. That moisture sits on the cold coil and normally drains away while the fan's off. But if the fan never stops, it keeps blowing air across that wet coil even after the cooling cycle ends, and it pushes that moisture straight back into your living room. That's why a house can read 74 on the thermostat and still feel damp and heavy. A humid 74 feels worse than a dry 74. So what do people do? They walk over and drop it even lower, trying to fix a moisture problem with a temperature setting. I actually had this exact call last summer. Family swore their AC was dying. House felt sticky no matter how low they set it. Took me 4 seconds to walk in and flip that switch from on to auto. That was the whole visit. They felt a little embarrassed. I told them don't. I see this constantly. Left alone for months, that damp air moving through your ducts is exactly the environment mold likes. Eventually, the air smells a little off, someone gets called out, and you're looking at a duct cleaning or UV light quote, often over $1,000 to fix something a fan switch caused. Set it to auto. Done.
Habit number 2, cranking it down to cool faster. This one's probably the most common belief in every household with a thermostat. You walk in, house feels warm, and instead of setting it to 74, you slam it to 65. Figuring the lower number gets there faster. Makes sense in your head. It's just not how the machine works. Your central air doesn't have a fast setting and a slow setting. It's on or it's off. That's the entire range. Setting it lower doesn't push out colder air and doesn't move more air through the ducts. All it does is keep the system running longer, right past the temperature you wanted, toward a number that's going to feel uncomfortably cold anyway. So the house overshoots. You get cold, you get up, you nudge it back. Congratulations, you just made the system swing further than it needed to for 0 extra speed. And there's a real cost sitting behind that. Every degree you push below roughly 78 adds about 3% to your cooling cost. Drop it 10 degrees for an afternoon and you've spent real money for nothing. The house hits your actual target at the exact same pace either way. Set the number you want to live at. Walk away from it. Habit number 3, cooling an empty house all day. Now here's one that costs you while you're not even home to feel it. A lot of people find one comfortable number and never touch it again. 72, 24 hours a day, all summer. Feels efficient. Isn't. Think about what that actually means. Your system works just as hard cooling an empty house at 2 in the afternoon while you're at the office, as it does cooling you personally at 8 at night. And overnight, it's chilling the whole house down to daytime comfort while you're asleep under a blanket, not needing it that cold. Here's the number worth remembering. Let the house drift up 7 or 8 degrees while nobody's home, and you can shave close to 10% off your entire year's cooling cost. No gadget, no upgrade, just not paying to cool empty rooms. I can't tell you how many houses I've walked into with a perfectly good programmable thermostat sitting on the wall, still running the factory default schedule because nobody ever touched it. Paid for the tool, never used it. One thing, though, Don't confuse setting back with shutting off completely. If you're somewhere humid, turning the system fully off while you're gone doesn't just let the house warm up, it lets it get damp too. Come home, flip it back on, and now the system has to strip all that humidity out of the air before it can even start actually cooling. So it runs flat out for hours during the hottest part of the day. Bump it up 7 or 8 degrees when you leave. Don't kill it. A basic programmable thermostat runs $30-40 and handles the whole thing on autopilot. Habit number 4. The thermostat, tug of war. If more than one person lives in your house, you already know this one. Someone's warm, they knock it down 2 degrees. An hour later, someone else is cold, they push it back up 3. All day. Up, down, up, down. Here's why that's rough on the equipment, not just the bill. The hardest moment in your whole system's day isn't running, it's starting. The compressor, the expensive part sitting outside, pulls a big surge of power just to get itself spinning. Run one long, steady cycle, and that startup surge is a small part of the workload. But adjust the thermostat every 20 minutes, and you're forcing it to start and stop all day. We call that short cycling in the trade, and it wears equipment down fast. I've pulled compressors out of units that died years before they had any business failing. Almost every time, same story. A system that spent its whole life starting and stopping instead of running clean, steady cycles. A compressor that should last 15-20 years gets cut down to 8 or 10. And that's not a cheap fix. A couple $1,000s or more on a bigger system, which is usually the exact number that convinces someone to just replace the whole unit instead. To be fair, most thermostats built in the last several years have a built-in delay that stops the compressor from restarting too fast after shutting off. So one impulsive adjustment on a hot afternoon isn't going to break anything overnight. This is slow, cumulative wear, not a sudden emergency. But the fix is still the same. Treat the thermostat like cruise control, not a gas pedal. Pick a number the whole house can live with and leave it.
Habit number 5. Chasing a number that isn't realistic. This is the one I actually want you to remember because it's the one that costs people money on a call they never needed to make. Here's something almost nobody tells you when they sell you a system. Your AC isn't built to hit an exact number on the wall no matter what's happening outside. It's built to pull your house down by a certain amount below the outdoor temperature, typically somewhere around 20 degrees. On a normal 90-degree day, a properly sized system holds 72-75, no problem. Easy job. But on the worst days of the year, 100, 105 outside, that same 20-degree pull lands you around 80, not 68. Set your thermostat to 68 on a day like that, and the system's going to run non-stop and never get there. Not because it's broken. Because you're asking it to do something no residential AC on the planet is designed to do on the hottest afternoon of the year. And that's exactly where people lose money. The house won't hit the number, they assume the unit's failing, they call for service. That visit alone runs $75 to $150 just for someone to show up. And on a 100-degree day, the tech's going to find a system running hard and running warm. Because literally every unit on the block is doing the same thing that afternoon. That's the moment where some technicians will tell you it's low on refrigerant or undersized or due for a replacement. When the honest answer is it's 100 degrees outside, your system's fine, and it'll catch up once the evening cools down. I had a customer once who'd called 3 different companies in the same week, chasing that number down. 3 service fees. Nobody told her the simple truth until I did. The unit was working exactly as it should. It just wasn't a 90-degree day. So here's your 5. Fan on auto, not on. Set the number you actually want. Don't chase it lower, thinking it'll get there faster. Let the house drift a bit while you're out or asleep. Just don't shut it off completely. Stop touching that dial every 20 minutes. And on the brutal days, expect about 20 degrees below whatever it is outside. That's just physics, not a broken machine. When to actually call someone. None of this means ignore real problems. Call a professional if your house can't hold a comfortable temperature, even on a normal day, not just during a heat wave. Call if the air out of your vents is warm instead of cool. Call if you see ice on the refrigerant lines, or the unit won't start at all. Those are real issues worth looking into. And if a technician does come out and tells you the system can't keep up, ask one question. What's the temperature drop across the coil? the difference between the air going in and the air coming out. A healthy system usually pulls that down somewhere between 15 and 20 degrees. If they can show you that's in range, your equipment's fine. And your actual problem is the weather, not the machine in your yard.
Keeping your home at the perfect temperature doesn't have to be complicated. With this smart thermostat, it actually learns your schedule. If this saved you from a service call you didn't need, hit subscribe to Freddy Fixes, because there's a lot more like this coming.